How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Talking PlayStation, the coolest PlayStation podcast for people with really low standards. My name is Jacket. My name is Jacket. I'm here as always with my life partner Iron. How you doing, dog?
Not too bad. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. And we've got the Japanese consultant in with us today. We've got Andy here. How you doing, man?
Konnichiwa.
The most English-sounding Japanese consultant.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to talk about Yakuza, and me and Iron have like no clue about Yakuza. I think I played the original game way back when on PlayStation 2, and then I played the remake of that game on PlayStation 4. I'm not sure if that was the remake of that game or not.
I remember you played one of them on PS4.
Yeah, I played one that you recommended me to get, which I think was like the first, like canon-wise, I think was like.
It was probably Zero.
Yeah, I think that might be the one it was. But that's basically it. And Andy is not only like the biggest Yakuza fan I think out of anyone. Andy is probably one of the first people in the West to actually play through the entirety of Yakuza 7 with zero context of what's going on because you played it without subtitles, which is even more crazy.
Yeah. So did you actually think the Japanese version just had English subtitles when I originally said I was getting it?
My assumption was that the Japanese version would have English subtitles. I'm thinking about it now. Like, obviously, it doesn't make sense that the Japanese version would have English subtitles. So I'm not that surprised now. I thought about it, but I really was surprised that you were going to play the entire game without like having the story or anything. Did you manage to pick up like what was happening in the game?
I got the gist of things that are good because, of course, like I've played like all the others. So I can get the general context of things that are going on, but like there is like things that are obviously like missed, which is why when it comes out in English, it'll be good to go back and play it proper.
We may as well talk about Yakuza first because I'm kind of interested now to think. Have they introduced new characters in the game then?
Yakuza 7 is a whole new protagonist. Yeah, never been in the series before. Because Kiryu's story ended with Yakuza 6. That was like his swan song game in a way. It was like the last one with him as like a playable character. For now, they might bring him back in the future, but no, yeah, this is entirely new protagonist.
So, is it the same like gameplay wise? Is it basically the same as the other games?
It's Persona now. Okay. It's turn-based. The combat's turn-based. Yeah.
Wow.
It's not like it's not a brawler like the other ones. This is like it's a whole new combat system.
So, like, do you mean just like Persona, or do you mean like more like the new Final Fantasy 7 game, like that kind of turn-based, or do you mean like literally
it's Persona. Like you have your sort of you're just like your standard attacks, but then you have like your sort of characters have their like individual specials, and then. Kind of like Final Fantasy. Well, these were in like Persona as well, but you can have like ultimate attacks that like each character has, whereas like plays like a special little scene and like stuff. And there's also summons in the game as well.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, like for instance, it's like Ichiban on his phone will like text someone, and you pick from like the list of people that you have unlocked, and they'll like come in and do like a special attack.
Still weird.
I was not expecting that. I mean, I've not really read anything about Yakuza 7. I watched a trailer, I think, but I had no idea it had gone turn-based. That's kind of crazy.
I do remember like hearing about it when everything was first coming out and everything, that Andy was saying that it's changing to turn-based.
Wow. So have they changed it to turn-based because the characters changed, or is this going to be it going forward, do you think?
They wanted to try something new because they said that this was like an experiment, like depending on how the like community, like the fan base takes it. It's like they're fully prepared to go back to like the old brawler style if this doesn't work out, but like they just wanted to, with like a whole new protagonist, they wanted to try something new to see how it worked.
That's crazy. So did you prefer it with the turn-based? Or no?
I didn't mind the turn-based. Like it's fine, but like I would much prefer it to go back to brawler. If it stayed like turn-based, it's like it'd be fine. I wouldn't have like an issue with it It's just from like a
Yeah.
personal preference perspective, I'd prefer it to go back. But like from general fan base on like the Reddit, from like people they've also like imported it and played it, the general consensus is for it to go back to the brawler style combat.
How many games are there like before this? Because I know it's like Yakuza 7, but there's more than 7, right? Because there's been like remakes and stuff.
So you got 0, which is like the prequel, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you've also got is Ishin and Kenzen, which haven't come out in the West. They're Japanese and they never got like translated and released over here. So there's like, you know, about 10, because I think there's some like spin-offs on like PSP.
Damn.
And stuff as well.
The Kiwami games, are they just remakes of like
Kiwami 1 and 2 are remakes of like Yakuza 1 and 2.
Ah, I see.
Okay.
Because it starts in the 80s, right? That's where it originally starts.
Yakuza 0, yeah. Kiwami like Yakuza 1 starts in like late 90s. Because Yakuza 7 starts off in the period, because of course, like start of Yakuza 1, Kiryu goes to prison because he takes like the fall for murdering
I've seen
the
that bit,
like Sohei Dojima. And this, like the opening of the game takes place in between that period where, because Ichiban is part of the Tojo, but yeah, it takes part in that period where like Kiryu's in prison, because then Ichiban goes to prison for like 18 years. Because he also he takes the fall for like his like sworn like his brother in like the gang like kill someone, and they get Ichiban to like take the fall for him, which is, you know, of course he's up to because of the whole sworn brother thing that is over there. So I was gonna
say, do you see Kiryu in the game? Is he in the game at all, or is he just like just mentioned and that's it?
There is, well, of course, because I mean, don't want to like spoil anything for anyone, like especially like if Chaz or something like listens to this, but like there is, I will say that there is returning characters from previous games in this.
Okay.
But I will not say who.
That's cool. I think it's cool they did something different. I'm like probably more inclined to have a look at it, because I like turn-based games, so I'm, you know, especially with like a new character. Is this? Well, I was going to say, is the story like independent, but I suppose you can't really tell that much, can you? Because you don't know what the dialogue is.
No, yeah, the story is independent. This is like, if you've never played a Yakuza game before, you could absolutely pick this up and like play it fine. It's just like, as you say, like there is the recurring characters that like they have come back from like the previous games, which, you know, if you've never played those games before, I wouldn't necessarily say you're going to be like lost, because it's not like required information as such. It's just more of a, it's not just like I say, it's not just like a nod to League, like things for like previous games. Like they're involved characters, but like it's not required to like know their whole backstory across like the 6 other games.
That's cool. Did I read somewhere as well they might be doing a dub for this as well?
That is the rumor going around, because Judgment, which came out last year, which is again set in the Yakuza universe in Kamurocho. It's like a spin-off title.
Yeah.
But it's very much, it's brawler style, but it's like the combat's like slightly different. It's more like stylized combat, because there's sort of like 2 different styles you can pick between. But yeah, that game had a dub track which was very well done, and they're in the credits listing on a website. I can't remember the name of the company, but the company that did the dub track for Judgment was credited on the like English translation stuff for like Yakuza 7.
Oh, I see.
So
would you prefer it with a dub, or would you prefer like to just stick with like a sub like you have done so far?
The dub was like very well done. I still played Judgment mostly subbed. I like switched it over just to like see what it was like. But it's because like I've played, say, all the like games previous, so I'm like so used to like the Japanese voices and that. I would imagine.
Yeah, no, I can get that.
Because like in Judgment, it was fine because there's no like characters really from like the older Yakuza games that you really like see in there. But like I would imagine with like Yakuza 7, it'd be kind of weird to hear like certain people in English. But I mean, they did like an excellent job of it in Judgment, and it is something that again makes it more accessible for people that don't want to listen, because I know like Chaz, he likes his like dub stuff. So I know he was I think he's still playing Judgment at the minute. I don't think he's finished it yet, but he's really enjoying the dub in that. So
it
7 would be.
Like the fact it's like turn-based, and if it had a dub, I would definitely be more likely to play it then, because I'm not the biggest, as you know, I'm not the biggest like fan of subs. But I could do it. When I played Yakuza, I wasn't that bothered about the fact it was subbed. But I would like a dubbed version would be like my preferred way to play it. So that's pretty interesting. When's it coming out in the West?
Sometime this year.
That's the best we got.
Yeah, it's just 2020 in a minute. There's no like definitive date, but Yakuza 6 came out. I think it was like 6 or 7 months after it came out in Japan, so it'll probably be roughly the same amount of time. But if they are doing a dub track, it might be longer, might not be towards like the end of the year.
Yeah, because if they do like a legit dub, that's going to take a lot longer to actually put out, isn't it? If they do
because like the standard like localization team, just like doing like the like subs and like translating all the text and stuff, they do like an excellent job, because they don't just like straight translate it as such. They put their own sort of flair on it, so it kind of like for like not for like the main story thing, they translate that is like an anime would translate for like a dub. But
they have to be careful, because in Japan, which is like nowhere near as politically correct as the West is now, especially, they have to go through those things really carefully when they're translating stuff, because there's certain things you can say in Japan, especially with regards to like LGBT people, which you cannot say in like America or England anymore. So they have to take a lot of time and like effort to make sure they're translating it right, and so it's not like offending people when they bring it over. But
as I say, they do a good job with stuff like that, but they don't like censor anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. So overall then, are you like disappointed with the game? I mean, it's hard to say because you don't know, obviously you're only getting the gist of the story, but like gameplay wise and from what you've experienced, are you like a little bit disappointed, or like you quite happy with it?
No, I really liked it, and as I say, from the general gist of what I could understand was going on with the story, and then sort of the summary of like bits and pieces that I read online, it's like, as it stands right now, this probably sort of be my 4th favorite of the series if I like rank them.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I was thinking about this the other day, because this is like Sega, isn't it? Like, does Sega distribute this, or are they? I'm not really.
Yeah, because in the game, because of course, like in Japan, like Sega have like all these arcades and stuff. So there is literally like Sega arcades in the games.
That's cool.
And they have things like Virtua Fighter, like on the like arcade machines in there, so you can literally play like Virtua Fighter, and there's like a racing game, I can't remember the name, but
Outrun.
There's like a Sega thing. It might be.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure, but yeah, they have like all the like Sega arcade stuff and that in there.
That's cool, because that's got to be at the moment, like, because Sonic's kind of on ice. That's got to be like the biggest thing for like Sega right now. I'd have thought. I can't think of any other game that sells well and gets like critical acclaim that Sega have anything to do with. I mean, I guess Bayonetta, but
yeah, because I mean, until like Zero, the prequel came out, like the Yakuza series wasn't particularly like popular in the West. For like instance, like Yakuza 5, that didn't get like brought over for the longest time, and that was like a whole like fan petition thing that actually got Sega to like actually port it over into like English, because I think it was like 5 years before it came out in like the West. It didn't come out. I think it was like 2015. It came out over here.
I remember on the PlayStation 2 when the original came out, because I remember the cover was like a red cover with, I think it's Kiryu's back with like the tattoos all over it. I think that was on like the cover. I remember playing it and thinking it was like a really like good game, but I don't remember the sequel at all. Like, I mean, was a sequel on PlayStation 2 as well, or was that PlayStation 3?
Yeah, because fun fact, I recently imported the Japanese versions of the PS2 copies for 1 and 2. So yeah, it was shock horror. I know.
I'm really surprised by that. But man, that's some, like, I said this to Iron, like, that's crazy commitment to play the game through. Like, not even like having like a translation. Like that's really like committed to playing that game. That's like legitimately impressive that you'd go to that length.
I mean, if anybody was gonna do it though, it was gonna be Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
There's
100%.
only like again, this is more of like a nitpick thing, but there's only one gripe that I have with Yakuza 7, and there's a staple that's been in all of the Yakuza games previous, like the shop Don Quixote. It's an actual, it's like an actual shop in Japan. It's kind of like this. Jackie, like Audi over
Yeah, I
here.
know what you mean. Yeah.
Kind of, it's not like that big. It's more of just like a sort of, say, like a Tesco Express size, like a little sort of corner shop size thing. But they've just got like
Yeah.
stacks of like the same, like loads of sort of like the same shit like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of just like a staple of the series. It was like, I think it was like just like a sponsorship because it was like included in the games, but it's just not in Yakuza 7, and I hate it.
Huh.
Because I can remember when I first played Yakuza 7 in the opening, you're in like Kamurocho, and this again because it was cool like wandering around there in this period like where Kiri's in prison, so we sort of like never saw it because it was the Millennium Tower was being like constructed, which is really cool. So I was like wandering around. I went to sort of like the different sort of like main areas from the other game, like the Stardust like host club, and then the bar. And then I was like walking down like the end of the street because it's like whenever you need to like buy something in the games, there's like shops everywhere for like your items or whatever. But like a lot of the time there'll be quest objectives of go get this thing from the Don Quixote. So I just like go down the end of the street and you can like hear it because there's like the Don Quixote song that's like playing that you can like hear on the street, and it's just not there. It's a police station now, and I was really sad.
Is there a reason they've got rid of it, or
I presume it's just whatever agreement they had with it's just like a licensing thing. So that was like kind of like a shame to like not see that there, but you know that was like my only like minor sort of niggle with it.
So other than that, 2 big thumbs up for Yakuza 7. So you're looking forward to obviously replaying it when you actually play it,
properly understanding what the fuck's going on.
Properly understand what's happening. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So speaking of other Japanese things that are coming out soon, there's a new trailer for Final Fantasy 7. Andy, have you ever played Final Fantasy 7 before?
No.
No.
The only actual like Final Fantasy game that I've ever like played to any degree is like 15.
Oh yeah, 15, of course, yeah, because you really enjoyed 15, didn't you? You played it through.
Yeah, because I played like a little bit, like bits and pieces of like 13 and probably like 10 at some point, but like never like a large amount. I probably played it for like an hour or two at like a friend's house like ages ago. But yeah, like Yakuza. Final Fantasy 15, I played all the way through, and I even like platinumed the like originally on PS4.
Yeah, I remember you telling me now. So, have you two seen the trailer, the latest one they've released?
This is the theme song trailer.
Yeah, have either of you two watched it?
I haven't watched it, but I just opened it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so the trailer itself isn't really that interesting, other than the fact it's like got a lot of spoilers in it. Like, I guess because the game's so old.
I'm about to say, like, are they really? I mean, there'd be spoilers for somebody like me or Andy for not playing it, but otherwise, like,
yeah.
But I mean, I get that it's like a remake of a whole sort of like reimagining of the game, but it's like the original game came out like what, over 20 years ago, so it's kind of like, even though it's like a remake of an older game, and you I suppose should generally be more careful about what you say about it. It's at the end of the day, it's an old game that came out ages ago. Calm down.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that what I suspect, and I saw a lot of people suspect the same thing, is the final boss of this game was probably shown in the trailer, but then it might not be because they might have changed it, so it's not that big of a deal. But what is interesting is they are going to keep in the game Cloud dressing up as a woman. Now, being as you two have never played the game before, do you have any idea where this comes from?
I'm aware.
I do not.
I've because as I say, I've never played Final Fantasy 7, but I don't, because Team 4-Star, they do the like Dragon Ball Z like abridged stuff. They do like a Final Fantasy 7 machine abridged like thing, and they just finished like season 3 of that. And this is the weird thing, I've never played the game, but I do watch that, and it is is like very entertaining. But like, of course, they like they don't necessarily. It's not like a retelling of like Final Fantasy. They have their own like spin on it, like they do with Deep ZA.
To sort of briefly give you an idea of why this could be kind of controversial. So in the game, this isn't a big spoiler, it's a very small part of the game. At one point in the game, one of the characters, Tifa, gets kidnapped, and they take her to basically what is like a a strip club or a whorehouse. I don't know really what you call it. And the only way for you to get in there and save her is you have to go with another female character, Eris, and enter. And you have to dress Cloud up as a girl. He has to wear a dress, put on like a wig and stuff, and makeup and all this kind of things. It doesn't sound that bad, but it's not handled with the same kind of respect it would be handled with today in like 2020. Like they make a lot of fun of it. It's very camp. You know, it's kind of Cloud is kind of very, how can you say, like he doesn't want to dress up as a girl. You know, there's lots of that going on, and I think a lot of people thought they might just cut it from the game because the current climate is in the West. You can't really make jokes about that sort of thing now. It's like they're not very well received, are they? If you make jokes about like potential cross dressing or like anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that they're going to keep it in. I do wonder if people are still going to be annoyed by it because they've kept it in, but they do seem to be trying to like make it a bit more modern. I doubt they'll have it like as it was originally, but it is interesting.
Like they're trying to just make it as true as possible without causing problems.
Yeah, it's difficult because, like I mentioned with Yakuza, in Japan, a lot of things fly that just don't fly in England or in America, you know, or things like that, especially not nowadays. So I can kind of understand it, but it is quite an iconic part of the game, even though it's over quite soon. It would be a shame if it was like taken out of the game completely because it's like a pretty, you know, well-known part of the game. So I'm glad they're keeping it in. But
well, it's like, I would imagine there's going to be like outlets that complain about it. Like everyone can, you know, not going to list like a name here, but it's like
everyone can guess,
you know the places that are going to have their articles, you know, up about man, fucking outrage and shit. But like, again, it's, you know, developed by like a Japanese studio, and of course you two don't watch probably nearly as much anime as me.
No.
And it's like stuff like this like still happens in like anime like now. It does get like translated and like dubbed in like English. So it's not like it's not seen like over here.
Yeah.
But I think because Final Fantasy VII's gonna be, you know, it's like a general audience game. Like people don't, you know, like necessarily like associate with anime like sort of general like video game consumers over here. So I mean, I think for the most part it's going to be fine, but you are going to get those, you know, the outlets that everyone knows that are going to have their articles up like day one. It's like, man.
Yeah, because they got to tread so carefully because all they've got to do is say the one wrong thing in the game or you know, because it's so easy to offend people by mistake, you know, with these kind of things by saying the wrong thing or not being as like clued up maybe as I suppose as you need to be, but yeah, it'll be interesting when it sees the light of day. That's
I mean, not to the same extent, but like Zelda Breath of the Wild had like a similar thing where when you had to get into the, I can't remember the name of the village, but you had to dress up as a girl, and of course because that's like it's not really dialogued as such in there, like but you can like tell that Link is like super embarrassed about having to like dress up as like a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a funny part of the game, but yeah, people did get upset about that. I do remember people getting upset about that, but yeah, I guess we'll see when it comes out. Hopefully, it doesn't like get too much attention, but I'm glad they kept it in at least for the continuity of the game. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah,
for,
I mean, with Cyberpunk getting pushed back towards like the end of the year now, it's like because of course it was like Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy, and like Resident Evil 3 remake were all coming out within, you know, like 2 weeks of each other. And like Final Fantasy 7 was going to be the one that I was going to skip on out of like the three, but now it's like I probably will pick that up like when it comes out.
Yeah, I said to Ian he should play it. I mean, he's not. I mean, you're not a big RPG guy, are you, Ian? Let's be like completely honest.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
But I think you'd enjoy that because it's going to be like not really like turn-based or anything like that. It's going to be a lot more hack and slash type. It's going to be more like Final Fantasy 15, which isn't really turn-based. I'm not really sure how you describe the combat in those games, to be honest. But
I mean, it's one of those that, like, I mean, if it goes on sale, I'd probably pick it up. I'm not going to spend $60 on it just to try it and be like, I don't like this.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And the other thing that happened this week, which I thought was pretty interesting, is there is a patch for Death Stranding. This is going to completely go over Ryan's head, but
I'm completely out on this one.
But the patch introduces something really interesting. So essentially, in the game, for those who haven't played it, when you encounter the BTs, the game plays like a little cinematic where your radar pops up and the game like freezes. You can't do anything for maybe, how long would you say, Andy? Like 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds.
Yeah,
like
sort of between sort of 5 and 10 seconds. It locks you in sort of like the little flicky animation.
Yeah, it's kind of irritating once you've been playing the game for a while because you don't need it, do you? After you've been playing the game for a few hours, you don't really need that indication that you're like in there.
Well, it's like even before you get to like BT areas, it's like you get sort of the little signs that like you're close because the screen sort of darkens down, like the rain starts getting heavier, and like BB starts going a bit like mental because he's not happy about it.
And the music changes as well. I'm pretty sure because you get that BT music in the background that like kicks in. So, but basically the patch is going to make it so you can turn that off. So you'll see it the first time, and then that's it. It's gone. Which, man, they should have done that from like from the get go.
Yeah, because I think from my understanding, like that animation and the whole like thing still happens, so you know you're clearly in like there's BTs like really close, but like you can still move around. Like the animation will still play, but you can still like move around, find it, unlock you in for like 10 seconds.
No. Now, before we talk about Death Stranding more, Iron, are you definitely never going to play Death Stranding?
Yeah, I'm never going to play it. Don't worry.
I mean, I can tell from finishing the game, Iron's never going to play. He's going to get to the mountain and be like, no.
No, I don't. I said to Iron when I finished it, I said to him, you will not enjoy this game.
No. Nope. I definitely don't think I mean, I watched Neo stream it. I've watched a few people stream it, and it's like, yeah, this just isn't my kind of game.
It shouldn't have been my kind of game either. Like on paper, like everything that I was like reading beforehand and like the gameplay videos and stuff that I seen from like E3 is like, man, I'm not gonna like this because I was like kind of shitting on the game before it came out because like it annoyed me a little bit, so I was like, I'm just jabbing a little bit with a stick. But like I actually picked the game up and then I was like, oh, 60 hours went okay.
Yeah, I think the longer the period of time between me finishing the game, the more I'm kind of not disliking it, but when I think back on it, I tend to focus more on the negatives, I think, than I did when I just finished it. Because I still really enjoyed it. I still think it's a really good game that's got some really big problems. But I'd definitely play it again. I think I might actually play it again.
Yeah, I mean, because of course it's coming to PC this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've announced like a date. I want to say like May, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'm gonna replay it when it comes to PC.
Because there's a lot of things to like in the game. Like the one thing I would say, Iron, that is like a lot of fun is when you're actually just going from point A to point B, and it's not really that stressful. Like when when you're well equipped, which is like later in the game. That actually is quite fun. Like it's weird to describe why it is fun, but it actually is. Like when you're,
it's like, fun. I can't tell you why, but it's fun.
Yeah,
it's really difficult to explain.
Because there's like because of course when you like go out on the like various deliveries and stuff that you had to make, it was literally to the point where I'd like before I do it, pretty like near enough like every time, it's like I'd sit down for like 10 minutes. Open up the map and literally do the little dot things, like proper like plan out like a route and make sure I have like all my gear and like all the boxes like stacked on me, like as well as I could. The auto sort thing like worked out like pretty well for the most part with that. So it's not like you have to spend ages doing it, but it's like, do you want to bring like the mobile carriers so you're not necessarily carrying all these like heavy things on your back, but then you've got to remember it's like depending on what terrain you're going over, if you're going over like super rocky terrain, they might like detach from you. So you got to like be careful and like watch out for like stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's a part in the game towards the end where you have to basically go all the way back. So spoilers, Death Stranding spoilers here, just in case anyone's not finished it. You have to go from you go all the way Iron for like one side to the other, and then you have to go all the way back again.
Oh, fucking hell, man!
And you have to go all the way back in like one trip. Like there's nothing else to do other than get back to like where you started. And I like really, I don't know about you, Andy. I really enjoyed that. And what makes it even worse, this is why me and Andy were laughing so much. Like we were watching Neo stream, and Neo was spending all this time doing all the structures to like help you like building like the zip lines and stuff. Well, what happens is when you get to the one side, they destroy everything that you've built. So when you go back, none of it's there. So me and Andy were watching him. I was like, "Oh my, he's gonna be so pissed."
Yeah, when Neo was in like the second area, spending like he was in there for like 30 hours just like building shit. Everyone was like, "This is not gonna.
This ain't gonna go well."
They just destroy it all. But I really enjoyed that part of the game. I didn't mind that. The bit where everyone I say everyone turns off, but I think the bit where
there was like
three.
From what I can remember, there was like 3 points when I was playing the game. It was like, this is where people stop. This is where people stopped. This is where people stopped.
For me, I think the most obvious place is
the
you
mountain.
get to a part so you get to this part, and so basically the baby lets you see the BTs, and then at some point in the game they take the baby away from you, and you have to travel around without it for like a whole chapter. I think it is you have to travel without the baby. The problem is that you now can't see BTs at all. So you've got to go really slowly, and to make matters worse, you're in the snow, and you walk like so slow in the snow as well, and then you have to go up these mountains, and it's really, really long. Like it's like a 45-minute journey. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, just to go up this mountain, and then you get up there, and you have to go all the way back down again, and then you have to go up the mountain again. Like, it's really tedious. And I remember when I was playing that, I was like, this is where people stop playing. Like, this is where people just give up.
But then again, I really enjoyed that because that like portion of the game, it was like, instead of doing like extra sort of deliveries that I would do when I was like doing the main ones, it's like I literally just did the main deliveries. So I just take literally the minimum amount of things I could, and I put on the speed skeleton, and I would just, I wouldn't like. There was like, I think initially I started like was slowly like crouching around, but yeah, in the end I just put the speed skeleton on and just bolted, just like through.
Yeah. That's what I did in the end. I just started trying to go as fast as possible.
Because then you get the bit, because it was like constantly you get like the things behind you. It's like you can hear the BTs like chasing you.
Oh fuck that! Nope.
I mean, the other thing in the game is, I think the other disappointing thing for me in the game is the bosses, because they just seem to like shoehorn these bosses in that like, well, one or two of the bosses you can actually just run away from. There's one boss
a lot of them there's like the mandatory story bosses like you have to fight, but like I think there's only like 3 of them. Because if you at any point, if you get captured and dragged away by the BTs, you can just run away from that.
Yeah, you
can just like leave. Because and there was only like, because I wasn't playing it on hard, I was just playing it on normal, but there was only 2 points in the game where I actually even got like dragged away by like BTs. So like I hardly fought any bosses in that game, like at all.
The only time I died in the game was to the final boss with the whale, and that was only because I was fighting it, and it was like, this is so easy, and then all of a sudden it does one attack where it like dives.
Oh, the dive bomb.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, you can kill me doing that. But other than that, the problem is the game doesn't control well enough to like have you shooting or like doing like shit like that. It just doesn't have the right controls for it, and they seem to have known that because the bosses are really easy. But I could have done without them. If they weren't in the game, I would have been like, I wouldn't have really cared. The fights with Unga, now they're different. They're way more fun.
With him is the best parts of the game.
Yeah,
like, of course, not gonna say what it is, but like, you know, the sort of like final time and like the final batch of like cutscenes you get with him, I was literally I was like in tears, like just like on the floor.
Yeah.
It was like, that stuff was like, it was really well done.
Yeah, he is the best character in the game. I still think that Kojima was like trying to rib everyone, because Sam barely speaks in the game. Like, people complained about Venom in Metal Gear Solid 5, like Kiefer Sutherland played him, and they complained about him not talking. Sam doesn't really talk that much in this game, does he? Like, he has some towards the end. He speaks more, but generally he stands around listening most of the time. You know. It's
like
not
when
you expect.
Like when you find out more about like Sam's past, it kind of makes sense why he is like in a way like very quiet, but at the same time it would have been nice to like hear him more.
Yeah, but I mean, there's the other characters have a lot of dialogue to make up for it. I mean, every other character rambles on at you for a good 20 minutes, so I mean, there is a lot of story there, but. Yeah, I still really enjoyed the game. I still would recommend people play it, even if you don't think you're gonna like it. I think it's a game that people should at least give.
When it's free on PlayStation Plus, I'll do it.
You will never like it. I know that you'll never
You're like, except for you, don't fucking bother. Everybody else play it.
You would never like it.
Okay.
It's way too slow paced for you. Like you'd be so frustrated with it.
I think the thing for like surprising for me as well is like apart from Metal Gear Solid 5, like I'd never played like a Kojima game before, so I had like no
Huh.
reverence for sort of like his like gameplay styles and such, which is why it was
You
like
ever played Metal Gear Solid 2 or 3?
no. I've been playing
Oh.
Metal Gear Solid 2 like on and off, like recently after finishing Death Stranding, but no, I've never like Metal Gear Solid 5 is the only like Metal Gear that
Ryan, have you
I've
played a
ever
Metal Gear
played.
Solid game?
No.
Jesus. Wow. I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised you've gone back to play Metal Gear Solid 2 as well. That's an interesting game to go back and play because that game's kind of
It's not too
no.
bad. To
It's
be
a
fair.
product of its time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different kind of game, that's for sure. You don't really see games like that anymore that are like contained in that way. But yeah, no, I still really like Death Stranding, and I think it's interesting. I don't think there'll be a sequel to it. I think that's going to be one and done. I
Yeah,
can't see what they do.
the way it ended was pretty closing everything,
Yeah, pretty definitive.
wrapping
yeah.
everything up like fine.
I do think the world is interesting, but I just don't know what they do.
Well, yeah, because I
You
mean
know.
they're like pretty like clear in the game that it's like I guess like the rest of the world is just like fucked because they never like mention like really anywhere else. It's just like
No.
it's just America. I think is just sort of like all this left.
Yeah, from the impression I get in the game, but God knows what Kojima's going to do. I mean, I still hold out some hope that maybe he will end up working with Konami in the future and making another Metal Gear Solid game.
Whatever happened between him and Konami would be so interesting to hear that we're never gonna like actually know what happened.
No,
Like there.
no. I think they wanted to move away from making those kind of games. I think that was a big problem for them because they barely make anything now. They're just re-releasing stuff and making pachinko games in Japan. That's pretty much all they're doing now. So
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Well, I mean, the
don't think I've heard
pachinko
of
stuff
much
makes them
coming from
so
them.
much money that they could just get out of games like altogether, really.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess we'll find out. I suppose sometime in the future, maybe next year, we'll find out what he's going to be working on, and we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah.
Ian, anything else we need to talk about?
The only other thing I've heard about PlayStation specifically is there was a survey that went around, and it mentioned there was a survey that focused mostly on remote play, and it discussed remote play on a variety of different devices, including the Switch and Xbox One. So I don't really know what's going to come of that, but it would be interesting to have it. I could see it with the Switch.
Did you? I can't remember if you talked about it in like episode 2. I can't remember if this news came out after then, but because did you talk about Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we talked about that briefly. I wonder if this remote play thing is going to be like Project xCloud type of thing.
Well, I mean, remote plays on PC. You can do it on PC, like right now.
Yeah.
So it's not like necessarily something completely new that they've never done before.
Right.
But like,
I mean, PlayStation Now you can play on PC, and if your TV has it. So, I mean, it's possible. I wouldn't be shocked if in this new generation Sony makes a bigger push for a wider audience.
Well, I think from what it seems like with Horizon comes to PC, like what would actually, because of course Microsoft, like all the Xbox stuff, it's just like on PC like day and date now. But like what I think would be like a smart thing for like Sony to do would be, because of course when did Horizon come out? It was like 2015, 2016?
I think 2016, maybe
I believe.
17. Yeah.
So like, because we're probably, when the PS5 gets revealed, we're probably gonna get like the tease for like Horizon 2. I doubt it like come out at launch or something, but they'll probably have something for that there. And it would kind of be like a smart idea for like Sony to release these like top tier like PS4 Sony exclusives that people like really love on like PC, but like the older ones. So it's just like, here's like Horizon Zero, like the first Horizon Zero Dawn coming out on PC. Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is coming out on PS5 in like 5 months, and then it get people that are more inclined that don't have like a Sony console to be like, I mean, I could wait and it will eventually be on PC in like a few years, but it's like, man, that was like a really fun time. I'm gonna go out and pick up like a Sony console so I can like play these exclusives now. Because
Yeah.
like especially with these next generation of consoles, the gap between like console and PC is not gonna be as like wide as it is like currently.
No, and I think when we talked about this before, but I still think the same thing, that putting these games out like Horizon on PC, you may as well, because they're not making money off that game. They're not making big sales on that on PlayStation 4 anymore. So
Well, no,
why
'cause
not try and
I think
put it
when they
on
announced it
PC?
for PC, it was on like sale on like PSN. I think it was like 10 bucks, 10, 15 bucks, something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you said, it's like why not? Because one, it's gonna come out at full price on PC, and like people that haven't played it, they're gonna buy it.
Oh
Like
yeah.
even I'm probably gonna buy it on PC.
I'm tempted to buy it just because
Yeah.
I want to see how much prettier they can make it.
Well, I mean, I hope they do a better job because of course the Quantic Dream games, like that studio is not owned
Correct.
by Sony, but like Detroit and like Beyond Two Souls and that, they like recently all came to like PC. And the problem with Detroit is that you can't really do much customization like that. It's like it's still locked at 30. Like you can't increase the frame rate on it. So I'm hoping they don't. Yeah, I'm hoping they don't do that with like Horizon. Like if it was like a proper done like PC port with all the customizations that like PC gamers have come to like know with games, is like that would be advantageous of them to do, because that was the main reason I didn't buy Detroit on PC when I saw that with the reviews. It was just like kind of disappointing.
I've still never played Detroit. I thought about picking it up when it was on sale, but
yeah, I got it when it was on sale, and I just never got around to playing it.
Yeah, it's one of those games I might get around.
It's a pretty fun game. I did enjoy playing it.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list of like one to watch, like with Days Gone and a few other ones that I want to eventually like give some time to and actually play. But
I couldn't get on with Days Gone. I think I played that for like 5 or so hours and I was just like, nah.
Oh, Iron's got it, but I don't think you started it yet, have you?
Days Gone? No, I actually haven't started it. The PlayStation's out in the living room, so it's
alright.
Yeah.
It's just like even on a PS4 Pro, it kind of runs like shit.
Great.
Like
Gets
even
that fucking jet engine going.
Yeah.
I'm playing it on a Slim. Like great.
Because the main thing is, it's just like the 30 FPS is like it's fine, it's like again like 60 of course is like much preferred in like every single scenario, but like whenever I go back and like play like any of the sort like Horizon, because of course that's like 30 on like PlayStation, it's just like fine because they're like very well done. But the problem with Days Gone for me is just like it's not consistent, and there was like frame tearing. It might be better now because I played this was like not long after launch, so it probably isn't like improved. But like yeah, I could just remember like a lot of like frame skips and stutters, and like sometimes when there's like a lot of like the zombies on screen, it chugged down to like 20, which wasn't great.
Yeah, that's not good. I must admit, one thing I did actually forget I wanted to talk about very quickly before we finish is I got the Kingdom Hearts DLC, which I really liked, but man, oh man, that DLC is a rip-off. Like,
isn't it like 4 hours long or something?
It's not even the length of it. The problem basically it replays the ending, and you replay the ending from Kingdom Hearts spoilers, but you replay the ending from Sora's perspective, because he like goes through time. Even I played the game like twice. I don't even have a clue what's going on. But he travels through time somehow, and you play like his perspective, and so you're basically just replaying the end of the game again. It's not even like really new content. There is one very cool moment where there's all the characters together, and you switch between each character as you're like fighting, which is like really cool. But for like 25 quid, I think it's like $30 in the US. It is a super rip-off. Like, man, like Square Enix just love taking advantage of people like with money and stuff like this, because it's like it's really not worth it, because they'll release a version of the game like either later this year or on PlayStation 5 that has like the DLC with it, and it'll be like discounted or something like that. So
I mean, I suppose it's kind of a similar problem people have with like Final Fantasy VII, because of course that's like all because they're doing that in like multiple releases.
I think the problem with Final Fantasy VII is they're not making it very clear that it's like just one part of the game.
Well, yeah, because that's like a lot of complaints I've seen, because like nothing in like on like Amazon like listing pages or on like the PSN store like whatever say that this is part 1, Because it goes up to like what the Midgar, like the end of Midgar
just when you
supposedly.
leave, yeah.
Which, from what I understand, is like not quite a third of the game.
Not really. No, it's kind of they're fleshing it out, so it will be longer. But I wouldn't say it was 1/3 of the game at all. Like it's a good chunk, but it's not like one. It's not if the game was on 3 or 4 discs. It's not even off the first disc. So yeah, it's not that long. But I guess we'll see when it comes out. I mean, we don't really know until we actually get to play it what they've changed when it comes to Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, Square Enix just seem to love, make as much money as they can do from as little content as possible. If this is like anything to go by. But oh well, we shall see in the future what happens. I think that's pretty much it, right? I think we haven't got much else to talk about.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything really else pressing at the moment. Now it's just wait for the PlayStation event.
Yeah, just waiting for the PlayStation event. We will obviously do an episode as soon as that happens, so we can talk about the reveal.
Quick predictions then. How much do you think is going to cost?
Ooh.
I would say let's just do this in dollars because it makes it easier. I would say there'll be a base model, $499.
A base model for $499?
Yeah, but then there'll be like another version for like an extra $100 or something. That's got it's a 2 terabyte SSD.
I'm gonna say I'd say the if there's 2 versions, the base model is gonna be $399. The higher version is gonna be $499.
It's just like with the power of what these consoles are supposed to be, I don't see it being cheaper than like $499.
Yeah, but at this point, every console they pretty much make at this point is just sold at a loss. All their money comes from the games.
Yeah. And I mean, because of course Sony dominated this past console generation, so it's going to be interesting to see if they go back to PS3 cocky Sony of just get another job.
I hope they don't fucking do that. I swear to God. The sad part is I'm still gonna buy it at fucking launch, but that's not the point. Yeah. The point is that I don't want to pay $500-600 for a fucking console.
Yeah, because that was a big thing with the Xbox One when it first came out. Because it was I think it was $500.
Yeah, it was 500.
It was more expensive. I think the most likely price is going to be $399 purely because that's what they've released the last 2 consoles at. Now in the UK, I think that might be a translation of £400. I think we're just going to get absolutely shafted on that. I think, unfortunately.
Man, because how much was the PS4 when it originally came out? Was it $399?
Yeah, the PS4 when it first came out was $399, and then around the holidays you were like, "Oh, you can get 2 games with it."
Because I remember, because I got it in a bundle when Infamous Second Son came out. It was like £380.
Yeah, man.
Fucked.
I got mine with Killzone on release from Amazon, and I think mine was bang on. I think maybe it was 400. I think it was with a game, but I think you had to buy it with a game on Amazon.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I think it was all the bundles. I remember it being I don't think you could just buy the PlayStation. I think it was it came bundled with something.
Yeah. I mean, I got what the fuck did I get? Shit.
It was $349, but you had to buy a game, so it was basically 400 because you had to get a game with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think $399 is the most likely. I wouldn't be shocked at $499. Like if it was $499, I'd be like, okay, but
they better have a damn good reason to be $499.
Yeah, they've really got to beef that console up because I think we mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. I don't think that making these consoles ridiculously powerful is going to really work in this generation because we're already at the point where games they can get better looking, but really performance is what we really need. We could really do with games running better than they do.
Well, I mean, they need flat rate 60, in all the games. That if any game on the PS5 runs at 30 FPS, it's that's not acceptable for how powerful we know these consoles are going to be. It's there is no reason for it.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan, I cut you off there.
No, I was like, no, there is absolutely 100% no reason any game on the next generation should run any less than 60 frames. You got 1080s that can run any game right now, or it seems like almost any game at 60 frames per second, aside from the extremely high-end ones. There's no reason you should. And we got 2080s out. Like, there's no reason you should be struggling to hit 60 frames at this point.
I talked about this when I think on the first episode when we were talking about Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 on the Pro plays at, I think it's 1080p at 60, and not once when I was playing that game, and I'm playing it on like a 65-inch as well, so I'm playing it on a big like TV, but not once did I sit there and think, oh, I really wish this game was at 30 and in 4K. Like, it never once occurred to me, because it plays really well at 60. I don't know why more developers don't take that attitude.
I think especially
well.
with like this, like generate again, because it hopefully changes PS5 and Series X, but like it's buzzwords. Like you can put it's in 4K on like a box, and like general consumer man who isn't ingrained in technology, it's like, oh man, that sounds cool. But if you just put it's 60 frames per second on,
they're gonna be like, just like, what does that matter?
Yeah, I think it's just from like more so from like a general consumer perspective. Is like people can understand.
It's marketing.
Yeah, people can understand like 4K like very easily. It's a nice buzzword for them to have.
Yeah, you can sell 4K in a trailer as well. You can make a game look really pretty in a trailer, and you can really sell that. So that's probably another reason. But yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna see. Like, hopefully they announce when they're gonna do the PlayStation 5 event soon, so we can like learn some more about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely.
It's February, so they got 29 days.
Yep, they got to get on with it. We need to know. So, Andy, dude, thank you very much for coming on, man, and talking about Yakuza. Because, like I said, me and Iron haven't got a fucking clue.
Nope, not a single fucking idea.
It's been fun. It's been like just like old times.
Just like old times.
Just like old times.
It's been
it literally is the three of us.
Yeah, been a while since we've
before I went away on a secret mission.
On your secret mission, your information finding mission.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really appreciate it. If we do, I was thinking, me and I have talked about before. If we do some more like reviews, and you want to come on, and if we do some episodes where we're just talking about a game that we've played, like we'd really like to have you come on and just like talk about games with us. Like, that'd be cool. Yeah, because you play everything pretty much. Like, Jesus Christ.
I've calmed down in my in my older years now. I've calmed down later in life.
I don't know about that so much. I remember someone like having level 60 fucking Pokemon on like the second day it came out. Like,
because I just like grinded the wild area. Yeah, but I only played Pokemon for like 20 hours. I just like sat in the wild area.
That's true. Pokemon, like, it's really easy. I will say it is actually really easy to grind up to level. You just do a bunch of raids and then just shove the candy down their throat.
Well, I mean, I'm not even like, because I haven't gone back to it in like ages. I think I got to like the 6th. Like by the time I was at the 6th gym, like all my Pokemon were level 100.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's really not.
But I mean, I just played like Destiny all the time now instead of like I still play like other games. But you know.
But yeah, like definitely, if we do some more episodes just focus on individual games, it'd be dead cool to have you come on and just like talk about the games with us. So yeah, we can do that. If you're listening to this and you've got this far and you do feel like subscribing on YouTube or on Spotify or on iTunes, we would really appreciate it, because it really does actually help out quite a lot. We actually do really benefit if you do that. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Until next time.